Hello everybody and welcome back to Very Biased Opinions. It is another review of another Oxford game. It is Boxing Day and today the U's take on Lincoln City.
Aren't they managed by Michael
What are you even doing here?
I'm replacing Tom. It's now time to tell the audience.
Thomas Pickering stand-in Robert Allen will be joining me for today's game against Lincoln City. Michael Appleton returns with his Lincoln City side and they've somewhat struggled since he's taken over. It's not been a great success so far.
But as we were saying earlier, when Michael Appleton took over Oxford United, for the first few months we were crap.
We were. First year, really.
Yeah, it was pretty poor. We were Boxing Day, 4 or 5 years ago, we were watching the match against Shrewsbury, and it was utter shite.
I just remember watching Andy Wing trying to pass out from the back.
Which is never a pretty sight. God love Wingy, but he was not a ball playing centre-half. He was no Rio Ferdinand.
No. And it took him time to get his players in that he wanted to, and once that happened,
we probably do for Lincoln.
We played some great football under him when he came back. So I will be giving Michael Appleton a warm round of applause.
Absolutely.
Let's not forget Lincoln will be trying to avenge a hammering at the hands of Oxford United, where Oxford beat them 6-0. You can look at my review of that in the top corner. It was phenomenal. It was one of those days where everything that could possibly go right went right for Oxford on that
Foster
day.
got a 30-yarder, didn't he? I mean...
Yeah,
when did he do
if
that?
you look back at the goals on that game, they were crazy goals Oxford scored as well. So with Oxford on this one, yes, they had a great win against Wycombe on the last time out. Obviously, circumstances in that game made it slightly easier for Oxford than you probably would have expected to be. But Oxford have struggled a bit scoring goals. We don't seem to be banging them in on a regular basis.
We had a purple patch. We had a patch where it was just about we were winning well every week. We were getting goals. Taylor was consistently scoring. Brannigan was consistently scoring. Then he got injured, and now players know to stick 2 or 3 people on Fossey when he goes forward.
Yep.
And he's having a dip in form,
Yep.
which you would expect from someone who's young and quite inexperienced.
Yep.
Hopefully having Brannigan back fully fit will weigh in some goals. Henry's back now. That's always useful for getting goals, as in the last match.
I think Brannigan, Goran and Baptiste, they're almost like half midfielders that can do it all.
Yeah.
And I would expect Lincoln to press and make it hard for us. But Michael Appleton isn't a manager that's going to play defensive football. You would expect him to be quite expansive.
He should be going forward.
And hopefully Oxford can take advantage of that.
Well, Lincoln are not a great side. We should win today.
Yeah.
I know you're going to be getting on to predictions in a minute, but let's do it now. I predict it will be 2-0 to Oxford today.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same thing. It's probably cut and paste this for the Wimbledon game coming up next as well. And what I've said for a lot of games recently, if Oxford can get the first goal and get it early, I expect it to be relatively comfortable this afternoon. I'm going to go with my prediction from the League One video, which is going to be 3-0 to Oxford.
Of course, I've seen that video, so I know all about it.
Quiet you. And when we're sat back in the car at the end of the game in floods of tears, you will know exactly how wrong we were. So we're back from the game and the game is finished. It's a little bit like deja vu because Oxford have won again. And it finished up Oxford United 1, Lincoln City 0. A game that was very, very tight in the end. Oxford, I thought, played some good football at times. I thought Lincoln played some good football at times, but there wasn't really a lot of cutting edge in the game. We'll get to it because the game was settled by an absolute worldie by Shandon Baptiste. But Robert, what were your thoughts on the match?
I thought it was an odd match. Both sides were very... thank you. Both sides were sort of very tentative going forward. They played some nice stuff, but then they had no real cutting edge. The only chances that really were created when Oxford actually created something themselves. Brannigan had a couple of good shots, Sykes near the end, and Baptiste's strike was just amazing. I've never seen a player sort of beat 2 or 3 players, look around a bit aimlessly and just think, oh, sod it, I'll have a hit. Hey, it's gone in.
He's ruined it again of how we do these videos. It's me who talks about goals. It's
sorry.
Not you. You got carried away. Generally, I thought that we heard Robinson and we heard Appleton talk after the game. Robinson said Oxford didn't play very well, which you can understand. Appleton, I thought, was a bit bigging up his side. I thought he said Lincoln were at times outplayed Oxford. I never thought that was the case. I thought they never really troubled Archer. They played some decent football at times, but certainly nowhere near the level I thought Oxford played.
Unless there's an element of we're doing quite well, and they are still trying to prove their results. So after the result where they did play well but didn't get an end, it's better to come out and go, oh, we were robbed, we were brilliant, we were tough, and try and big the players up, because they might need it more than the Oxford players. The Oxford players might need.
But is he going to hear
arse.
that on local Oxford radio? Are the players going to hear that?
Well, you don't know what he said on BBC Radio Lincoln. I mean, you might do when you go home, but you know, won't hear it now.
So yeah, Oxford only made one change from the side that beat Wickham. It was just Taylor came back in instead of Mackie, so you can probably expect that to happen. You'd probably expect that to be the reverse when we play Wimbledon, that Mackie comes back into the side and plays a full game. Yeah, it was a strange one. I mean, again, it's like it comes down to Oxford. They've not been fantastic in front of goal. We talked about that earlier on in the video. So this game really did need to be settled by something quality. And as Robert said, Shandon Baptiste came along and absolutely scored a goal worthy of winning any football match. If you haven't gone and checked it out, certainly go and do that. 30-yarder, he said it, 30-yarder in off the underside of the bar. It was probably the only thing that was going to separate the sides, and so I'm just glad it fell on our side of it. Anybody you thought particularly stood out well in Oxford?
Alex Gorin. I thought Alex Gorin was brilliant in the middle. I mean, he's the player who goes around, he breaks up attacks, he goes forwards, and that was the biggest feature of Oxford play. The amount of balls we won back, and we went cleanly off the players and went to the launch and attack. The only negative I would say was the fact that we overcomplicated things. We seem to imagine we were like Barcelona of the mid-2000s.
I thought that, like, as a team, Oxford did that very well. They pressed very well. They won the ball back very well. And there was times in the second half and in the first half, we really penned Lincoln in, and they really, like, because they were trying to play out from the back, and Oxford really stopped them from doing that, and it really all led from Gorin, as you said. Couple of instances at the end. Obviously, as the game goes on, it's only 1-0. Lincoln had a bit more belief and started to think they could get something out of it. And you probably couldn't have begrudged it if it was 1-1 at the end. Messinio, he got turned and he ended up bringing the guy down. It was far enough out where I thought it was a yellow card, but certainly Appleton thought it should have been a red.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. If you're from a Lincoln persuasion, you look at that and you think it's a last man sending off. Looking at, and even from Oxford fan, I still do think it wasn't. I think it was a yellow card. And like you said, if they'd gone another 10 yards further
forward,
it would have
to
been
the edge
red.
of the box, you'd have said it, yeah. And in the virtually the last kick of the game, a corner from Lincoln comes over. Archer, who's been very solid all game, hadn't had a lot to do, just misjudged the flight of the ball. John Akindi, open goal, heads against the post, and luckily it falls to Rob Dickey or Messinio, and they put it wide from for a foot throw in or a corner. From that as well, another melee, and the ball bounced along the Oxford goal line or 6 yard box, and luckily Ruffles was there to hook it away. The final whistle blew right after that, to the relief of the Oxford fans, and so we took another 1-0 win.
And third in the table.
Third in the table, we've got some insane record now at home where we haven't conceded a goal at home since the end of August against Coventry, which is absolutely nuts. Third in the table, looking very solid. We go on to Wimbledon. As I always say, enjoy it, Oxford fans. Well done to Carl Robinson and the boys. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. It helps us so much on YouTube. And please also subscribe to the channel and hit that notify bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. I will be back, he won't be, for another review very soon. And as always, if you're looking for detailed football analysis...
Oh, can I say it?
Yes.
Thank you. You're probably in the wrong place.